Hello, this is Alicia with Alicia's YouTube Ministry. Yes, I know I'm wearing very, very, very nice attire today. That is because I came from volunteer work. See, I'm trying to make a good impression, so I have to wear nice clothes. For a job reference, at least. Anyways, so, some time ago, I had released my self-acceptance story on YouTube, but it got deleted, so I'm reposting it now. If you've never heard it before, then I pray you would get a blessing out of it. If you remember bits and pieces of it, then feel free to watch it again for review. Maybe you'll get a blessing out of it and hear something you didn't the first time. And so now, so let's start with this. Yes, I have Asperger's syndrome, which is a mild form of autism, and I am proud of it. That came easy to me just now, but it didn't always. There was a time when I was ashamed of it, how God has made me, and I wanted to hide it. And like everything, there's a cause and effect. Before I go in there to my testimony, I want to introduce some terms. First of all, you will hear something about CMC. It's short for content mastery, and it's basically for students that need some help they're not getting in the classroom, but they don't need to be in special ed classrooms where they basically water down the curriculum and make it easier. And then there's ARD meetings. ARD is short for admission, review, and dismissal. The admission part, they test you to see if you really do have a disability, and they look for proof and all that. And once they see that you are in need of a little extra help that you possibly won't get in the mainstream classroom, you're admitted. And then review, they review you every year, your progress and all that, to see if you're getting better and to see if maybe you no longer need the extra help. And dismissal is when they decide you don't need the extra help anymore, basically. Are there any other terms I should possibly bring up?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Nope. Yes.
You're sure?
Yes.
Okay, so let's get started with my story, shall I? So I was adopted when I was 2 or 3 days old with my twin sister. She's the only birth family member I've ever met. So around age 4, my parents, some government officials diagnosed me, and they diagnosed me as mentally challenged and say that I will never make it past the 3rd grade. Of course, my mother had a fit, and she said, "Yes, she will." And normally my dad, the volatile one, but that time my dad was trying to calm my mother down. But the government officials basically just looked at her like, "Oh, you poor woman." So, just in case they were right, my parents put me in school early, in an early child education program, and I learned how to read at age 4. And so from that time until 1st grade, I had gone to 3 different schools. And in kindergarten, I had to go back and forth between, and preschool and self-contained, I went back and forth between the self-contained and the mainstream classroom. But once I got to 1st grade, I was able to stay in the mainstream classroom and just go to CMC every once in a while for help. So I met one very, very good friend in first grade. Her name's Kayla, and we are still friends to this day. And it's a good thing I met her and maybe had one or two other friends, because most of the kids at school, they make fun of me. They often call me names like the R word. If you've heard Michael Cooper's speeches, also known as Coop, about the R word, you know what that word is, so I really don't actually have to say it. But it begins with an R, and ends with a D, and they call me that frequently. So, for a while I couldn't stop crying, and then eventually I just got to where I just got used to it. And I had some false friends that would constantly try to do things to get me in trouble, and because I didn't know better at first, I kept giving in to them. It was fourth grade when I finally realized that they weren't true friends, and I basically told them I wasn't going to do it. I'm not going to go into what they actually had me do, because it just doesn't need to be repeated. But plus I was a kid, people, come on. So anyway, by fourth grade I got a little bit of wisdom and was like, nope, not doing it anymore. And then it got at its worst at 5th or 6th grade, and it was like I try to befriend these new kids because I felt for them, but they were always so unappreciative, and ultimately they gravitated away from me and made fun of me just like everybody else. Sometimes when I was walking home, I'd have these kids call me Chicken Walker and throw sticks at me. And some would even try to run over me with their bikes or throw rocks at me. And so at the end of 6th grade, I actually cried at the 6th grade graduation. But the thing is, I wasn't crying because I was going to miss anyone in particular. Sure, I was going to miss some good teachers, like my 6th grade English teacher, Mrs. Schauber, who was practically a lifeline, and one of the main reasons I didn't kill myself in elementary school. But mostly I cried because I was scared, because I figured things would just get worse in middle school. See, the progression was in 2nd grade, I thought frequently about just becoming mean, because it was like, what's the point of being nice and everybody, when people don't like me anyway? Might as well just be mean and see if that'll do me any good. But my parents and my sister and teachers always kept me in check. And I decided that it wasn't worth losing the few friends I did have. 3rd grade, I thought frequently about running away, and one time almost did it, but then thought about my parents and wasn't sure where I would go, and I just went ahead and went home. But when I got up to 4th through 6th grade, I thought about committing suicide. What's up? 9 minutes? In fact, before I actually knew what illegal drugs were, and this is so silly, but when people said drugs, I didn't know they meant these little substances or these little pills you could put in your body and then they damage you. I thought it was like this little room where they put you in and it kills you instantly. And so I said, I'd rather just go on that so I can die. Of course, back then it wasn't funny, but it is now, because
10, 9,
we know that it's not the case. Next video.